Good morning. The Committee on Parole is called to order. It is April 16, 2026. It's 8:32 a.m. and we're going to begin with our revocation proceedings this morning. My name is Cheryl Renatza, serving as chairman today. Of the panel today, seated to my left is Mr. Chucky Tillis and to my right is Mrs. Jerry Ledoux. Would the staff here introduce yourselves, please?
Jasmine Thompson.
Sure. We are located at DOC headquarters in Baton Rouge. Our first remote location is at St. James Detention Center. And I think we have Mr. Armand before us.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you introduce yourself, sir? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
Jane Oman, 523-687.
All right, Mr. Armand, we're here for a revocation decision this morning. We're going to put a paper up on the screen. I think you signed that. I want to confirm that that's your signature at the bottom of the page. Is that your signature dated February 11th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Based on that information, Mr. Armand, it was determined not eligible for us to appoint you a lawyer. So are you ready to proceed today without one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so your case was assigned to me, so I'm going to just jump right in. I'm going to read the allegations against you and ask you to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty, and then we'll talk about it. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So you're accused of violating condition number 3 of your parole conditions. It says you failed to provide a current address. Several attempts were made to locate you at the address of record. All attempts were unsuccessful. So a warrant was issued on April 7, 2025 for absconding. So how do you plead to absconding?
Guilty.
All right. And we'll talk about that in a second. Number 4, condition number 4, it says you engaged in criminal activity on or about June 27, 25. You were arrested by St. James Parish Sheriff's Office and are being charged with possession of Schedule 1, possession of Schedule 2, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Let's see. Your trial was set for March 24th, 26, but it has been continued to April 20th, 26. So how do you plead to violating condition number 4?
Not guilty.
Okay, and then the last one has to do with your fees. It says you failed to make your monthly supervision fee payments. Currently, you are $252 in arrears. So how do you plead to violating condition number 10?
Guilty.
Okay, so tell us what happened. You pled guilty to absconding. You moved from the sober living house, I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
Why was that?
I was released January 16th, 2025. So I enrolled in sober living because I was trying to do the right thing, and I couldn't find a job that would hire me. So the sober living house confronted me about the situation and told me, look, if you don't get a job by the end of the week, we're going to have to let you go. And I got discouraged and I left. I take responsibility for my actions, but I couldn't find no job. There was nobody hiring me.
Well, so what about your arrest?
My arrest?
Yeah, you said you pled not guilty to the criminal activity for possession.
Oh, yes, ma'am. The house that they stopped me in front of was a dude that I knew. So he thought I was going to the house. So he searched me down and all he found on me was weed paraphernalia and brought me to jail and searched the house down and charged me with everything in the house. And my 2 co-defendants had pled guilty to it already. And I had no knowledge of nothing that was in the house. And they keep setting me back. And I go back to court April 20th.
Yeah, I see that.
They told me in court that they was gonna see what the parole board did with me before they went any further.
Right. Well, do you want to continue this proceeding until after your court date on April 20th?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it too. I think that's good.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Mr. Armand, I just feel compelled to point out, you're a 6 felony offender. I'm really hoping that something happens for you to be able to get your life together.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had a drug problem? Have you addressed it?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you gone to any kind of treatment programs?
Yes, ma'am. I was actually going, when I was in sober living, I was actually making all my meetings. I was going to IOP. I was doing everything I had to do, but I got discouraged because nobody would hire me. I guess because of my record and the way I look. You know,
Decisions are terrible things. They have consequences. Okay, thank you.
All right, so we're gonna continue your case until after you go to court and resolve that issue.
okay, thank you.
All right, good luck.
Have a nice day. So that means they really straight it down.
All right, good morning. We are ready for Oliver Mitchell.
Grabbing them.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Right now. Right there. Spin your chair down. Spin your chair.
All right. Morning, sir.
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Mitchell,
I had to use the bathroom, sorry.
it's okay. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
How y'all doing? My name is Oliver Mitchell. I'm 23 years old. My DOC number is 764577.
All right, Mr. Mitchell, we're here for a revocation proceeding today, and before your preliminary hearing, you signed a form. We're gonna put it up on the screen for you to look at. And tell us if you signed that form. Stand by, we're gonna put it up for you. See it?
Yes, ma'am.
That's your signature at the bottom of that page, dated, I guess is that February of 26?
Yes, ma'am.
That's your signature? So based on that information, it was determined you're not eligible for us to appoint you a lawyer. So are you ready to proceed with that one today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, your case has been assigned to Mr. Tillis. I'm gonna turn it over to him.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm good.
Good. I'm going to read some violations and you can answer. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to read some violations and you can answer guilty or not guilty or with a statement. Violation number 4, you engaged in new criminal activities evident by your arrest on or about 8/3/2025 by the Lake Charles Police Department for criminal trespass and possession of a firearm. Carrying a concealed weapon by a person convicted of certain felonies. How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty?
Not guilty.
Okay, tell us what happened.
Well, I'm not even gonna sit here and lie to y'all. Excuse, can I get your name? Mr. I'm gonna just say Mr. Is that cool? That's fine. That's
Phyllis.
fine.
Phyllis.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I fell in a bad situation. You know, like everybody just falling fuzzy situations. Well, I was in the car around the firearm. I'm not gonna lie. I did not know at the time. You know, I actually was on the way from my grandmother's house to the chicken place to get some food. Well, I'm fresh off of 3 years I've been incarcerated. I don't know the time zones between the food periods of places. Like, you understand like what I mean? So I'm fresh out of jail. Like, I don't have access to be able to move around how I need and want to. So I gotta move like accordingly to what I have access to. So all I did was catch a ride with my co-fellas that was in the car with. I was just on the way to get something to eat. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, sir. And I just got jammed up in the wrong place. And I had explained it to my judge. And he had told me that I needed to tell him how I told him to the parole board to explain it to y'all what happened in the situation. I understand that it's still like a criminal activity of being around a firearm, but I didn't have no acknowledgement, you know? And I just in a bad place at the wrong time. That's all I can really say to you.
How long had you been out?
I only was out for 2 weeks, sir. That's how you know this was not my intentions. A person that just did almost 4 years incarcerated is not willing to throw his life away in 2 weeks, sir. I had plans. I had plans to be a trade. I had a daughter on the way. I had a meeting that morning to go to try to get my safety. Like, I had a lot of things going on. I didn't have the right transportation. My grandmother don't move around after 8 o'clock, so I couldn't get her to bring me, and I caught a ride. That was all that happened, sir.
What, you were going to look for a job or?
Yes, sir. I had an interview that Monday. That Monday about 3 o'clock, they got a little building that be helping you fill out paperwork to get your OSHA safety and tweak. I was on the verge of doing that, and I had an interview that Monday at that 12 in the morning time.
I see. Colleagues, do y'all have any questions?
Yes, Mr. Mitchell, 7/29/25, you were doing your initial intake there at the office and you tested positive for drugs. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. But when I tested positive for the drugs, in these satellite camps in these places they send to you, I'm not gonna lie, it's all types of drug activity going on in prison. I told my parole officer that I was already dirty before I even urinated into the cup. She still wanted me to urinate into the cup to have a sample.
But see, here's the thing, taking drugs in prison and out of prison are both illegal.
I
Okay,
understand.
regardless of where you were. I also have one more thing to notate. You were offered bus passes and you accepted. So you did have access to bus passes.
Yes, I did, but the bus does not run at 10 o'clock at night, ma'am.
And chicken urge is getting you in trouble. I don't have any other questions.
So why were you out at 10 o'clock at night?
I told y'all from the jump, I'm fresh out of prison. I don't know the time zones between the chicken shack. I was on the way to get something to eat. That's how we end up in the I don't know the exact name of the chicken place, but that's how we ended up there at the parking lot.
Yeah, but you wasn't,
It was
you wasn't
closed.
looking for a job like you told Mr. Tillis.
It was
Yeah.
So, I think we're prepared to vote. Mr. Tillis?
My vote today is going to be to deny.
To revoke.
I'm sorry, to revoke for conditions number 4.
All right, Mrs. Ledoux,
my vote is to revoke based on non-compliance.
and my vote also is to revoke. I'm going to make a recommendation that you be placed somewhere where you can get some substance abuse treatment. You really need to get that under control to be successful whenever you're released. So good luck to you, Mr. Mitchell.
So,
All right, we are now at LaFouche Parish Jail. I think we see Mr. Major before us. Is that you, sir? Your microphone's still on mute. I don't know if you can unmute it or ask somebody to unmute it. There we go. Thank you. All right, Mr. Major, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
Good morning. My name is Jerroy Major. My DOC number is 488643.
All right, sir. And do you have any paperwork there with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a parole revocation questionnaire? Yeah, that's it. Is that the signature, your signature at the bottom of that page?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Based on that information, Mr. Major, you're not eligible for us to appoint you a lawyer. So this is a revocation proceeding. Are you want to proceed without a lawyer this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, your case has been assigned to Mrs. Ledoux. I'm gonna turn it over to her.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Major, I don't know about your memory, but I remember that Ms. Renatz and I have seen you before, haven't we?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You've been accused of violating several conditions of your parole. Violation number 1, you were released from a transitional work program, which we sent you to on 15/20/25, failed to report to PNP. How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or guilty with a statement?
Excuse me, what the question was, ma'am?
How do you plead? Guilty, guilty with a statement, or not guilty?
I think he didn't hear your question.
Okay, let me speak more loudly. You were released from a transitional work program on 11/15/2025.
Yes.
Okay, and you failed to report to the probation and parole office. How do you plead?
Could I make a statement, please, to that?
You can say guilty with a statement, and we'll get to that statement.
Guilty with a statement.
You've also, number 2 is the same allegation. It has to do with location. So you also want to do that with a statement, guilty with a statement. And number 3, the offender moved from his address of record and failed to report a new address to probation and parole.
Not guilty with a statement.
Okay. Number 4, the offender was involved in criminal activity on 12/25/25, and you were arrested 2/6/26 by LaFouche Parish Sheriff's Office, charged with simple battery. You pled not guilty, and you have a pretrial coming up May 6, 2026. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Number 9 is the same issue as number 2 or number 3. You moved from your address of record and you failed to report a new address to PMP.
The not guilty with a statement.
Okay. And number 10, you're now $3,024 in arrears of your supervision fees.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What do you have to say for yourself? Go ahead and provide your statement now, if you don't mind, please.
Yes, ma'am. Due to me getting released, I completed the transitional work program. The guy who owned the company was Joe Septic out of Cutoff, Louisiana. He would like it for me to continue working for him, or if not, he was gonna speak to someone else who he knew had a job. But I really ain't planned it on staying in the area where I was at. You know, first and foremost, when I had went out to Texas, it was for the, start my life over, because like my past, no matter what I done, respectable, having a helping hand, no matter, my straightening up my walk, I was being hindered from bad choices that I made in the past. So I didn't really want to even stay in Louisiana or anything. I really had plans to move outside of it just to start fresh, with my life, you know, because I haven't made a mind to be a productive citizen, a positive citizen on the outside and things like that. I just couldn't get that stepping stone, you know, no matter who I was basically amongst, you know. But again, I went to Raceland. That's right there with a transitional work program at a community called Aladon. And that's where I grew up at. I haven't spent time with my brothers or my family in a long time. And our son stayed right on LA1 side of the bayou. I haven't been in his life as well, you know. It was by choice because me being under the influence of drugs and just that street life, that fast life, I didn't want to bring that evil spirit, bring that type of energy amongst my child. It may be a crazy way to express my respect and my love and my protection for him, but that was my way of sort of protecting my son, you know, even from myself. At that time, I find that I was being selfish at the end of the day, you know, because no matter, I can't predict what his thoughts was. He maybe still wanted his father in his life, no matter what it was, you know. But again, I went to Richmond for that reason, those two reasons alone. While I was there,
Okay.
you know,
Mr. Major, you're a third-class offender. You know the rules.
no, I have 2 felonies now.
According to the Department of Corrections, you are third-class offender.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Um,
Yes, I do. I do know the rules. Again, like I said, you know, I must confess, you know, I haven't made up mind to be on a straight path. It's just,
well,
I'm being honest with y'all. You know,
yeah. So you had
I'm
a simple battery as well.
Yes.
So, and you still have to go to trial for that.
I'm willing to go to trial on that because the statement is a false statement. If y'all have any printout of the arrest
Read
thing,
it? Yes.
you'll see. With that being said, first and foremost, I don't put my hands on females, regardless. Period. And second of all, you know, I don't have a GED or a high school diploma, but my common sense tell me right there, the arresting officer should have seen from the statement that the victim gave that they was in error and breaking the law. That was lawfully interest when you forcing yourself in someone else's home.
So you're bringing up a lot of issues that are going to go against you because how long were you in prison before you were released?
Ma'am, I have no problem with telling the truth.
So, but
And
you had an opportunity to get a GED. You were incarcerated for a very long time. Do my colleagues have any other questions?
Ma'am, first and foremost, throughout my time of any incarceration, even parish time, I do productive things. I mentor to the youth in here. I enlighten people with the Bible, with God's word. I even have guys who want to work out with me. So spiritually, mentally, and financially, I am stable. It's just that I suffer because I have a slow learning disorder. I've been in special education since Lord knows how long, the 4th grade, but I never gave up. You know, even here, the guy who came, the probation and parole officer, he asked a question. I have common sense. He asked the question right here, can you read and write? I simply explained to him and I told him I could read a word, but I can't spell it to you. And I'm being totally honest. He put, yes, I can read and write. Why couldn't he put in detail exactly what I told him?
So are you asking this panel to have, to consider giving you an attorney? Is that why?
No, ma'am, I just explained what you brought up about me being incarcerated a certain amount of time as if though I'm just lollygagging around. I'm doing what to the best of my ability, what I can do here for myself and for those around me. I'm not worrying about what's going on amongst the world. I'm working on me and I'm getting closer to God. Pardon me, I didn't sign up now, but I'm no threat to society and I'm no longer a threat to myself. I don't have, they give free phone calls here, 2 free phone calls. I can't even use a free phone call to call on the outside, man. I cut hair, I'm a skillful young man. I cut hair, guys, it, they not entitled to pay me, but these guys give me things because they know I don't have for cutting their hair. And
Mr.
I'm not
Major,
even the barber that don't.
have you had any kind of medication for any mental health or anything?
Ma'am, I used to take medication for depression. I no longer suffer with depression. The last thing I was suffering with bad was anxiety. I no longer let that take control over me. I read my Bible and it humbles me.
Let me, Mr. Major, would you like to continue this case until after your trial on, but you still have absconded. You know that you did not report.
Ma'am, I did not deny that.
I know, I know. You said you were guilty. Do you want to continue the case until after you've been to court on the simple battery?
I really don't, because I know first and foremost God are the truth, and the good Lord is my witness on this here. I'm not being a boastful man against the system or bucking the system, but I'm pretty sure that light would be shown on that simple battery case. And as
I'd like to go into executive session.
I'll second. Is there any objection? All right, Mr. Major, we're going to go into executive session for a few moments to discuss confidential matters. Stand by.
yes, ma'am, thank you.
All right, I make the motion to go back into regular session. Without objection, we are back in regular session. It's 9:11. Mr. Major, as we've discussed with you, I was on your panel the last time.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
you said a lot of the same things then that you're saying today. Now, so I want you to understand that your parole officer and the parole board has been working with you since sometime in 2024. You were trying to, we were trying to give you the opportunity to move out of state and do it the right way by getting an interstate compact agreement. You were first going to go to Mississippi, to some address in Mississippi. Then you were going to go live, I believe, with an uncle in Schriever while you were working on the interstate compact to Mississippi. And then got picked up in Texas.
I don't even have relatives from Shreveport. So that I don't know what they was talking about even when that was being stated. That's what I'm saying. A lot of things is being, oh my God.
Was you were going to get a residence in Mississippi. They picked you up in Texas. We've been trying to work with you. We sent you to work release to give you the opportunity to work on the permanent residence. Obviously, you failed to do so in the right way.
Ma'am,
A lot of opportunities, Mr. Major, and you just not accepting the help that we've been trying to give you for some time. So I will tell you that my vote today, I find you guilty of violating the conditions of your parole, and my vote today is going to be to revoke you. Tell us.
I concur with this Renata with the violations.
Mrs. Wood, go ahead, I'm sorry.
You pled guilty to violation 1, 2, and 10.
Mrs. Ledoux.
My vote is to revoke based on failure to comply with conditions of parole.
Mr. Major, your parole's being revoked today. All right, good morning. Oh, you're still on mute.
Good morning.
There we go. Thank you, sir. Well, Mr. Kenner, good morning.
Good morning.
We are currently at the Patterson City Jail. Mr. Kenner, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
My name is Dearius Kenner, DOC number 514982.
Yes, sir. We're here for a revocation decision this morning. We're going to put a form up on the screen that I believe you signed. We're going to get you to confirm if you did or not. Just stand by. We're going to put it up. You see that? That's a parole revocation questionnaire. Is that your signature, Mr. Kenner, dated August 28th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Based on that information, you're not eligible for us to appoint you a lawyer. Can you sit back a little bit? There we go. Now I can see you. You were trying to see the form, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so based on that information, you're not eligible for us to appoint you a lawyer. So this is a revocation proceeding. Are you ready to proceed without a lawyer this morning?
Ma'am.
I didn't get that. She was fooling with the camera. Are you ready to proceed without a lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, your case has been assigned to Mrs. Ledoux. I'm gonna turn it over to her.
Mr. Kenner, what's going to happen is I'm going to read out the allegations of your violations, and I'm needing you to give me a plea of guilty with a statement, or not guilty.
Yes, ma'am.
So condition number 2, you failed to remain in contact with your agent at the New Iberia district since December of 24. The agent was unable to make contact with you, and you were warranted March 5th, 2025. How do you plead?
Not guilty with a statement. At the time,
We'll get to those statements in just a minute. Let me go ahead and take care of the rest of them. Okay.
yes, ma'am.
So number 3 is similar. You failed to notify your agent that you were no longer residing at 1012 Grace Street in Morgan City. The agent attempted to make contact at the listed address, and you were no longer there. And so that was another factor in issuing the warrant on March 5th. How do you plead?
Not guilty with a statement.
Number 4, you refrained from criminal conduct on 8/20/2025 when you committed the offense of entry and remaining on premises after being forbidden, distribution of Schedule II drugs, possession of synthetic cannabinoids, Schedule 1, transaction involving proceeds from drug offenses, and 3, failure to appear. Subsequently, you were arrested by Morgan City Police, and you were charged with those crimes. On 1/29/26, you went before a judge, and you were sentenced to 6 months in prison, and several charges were dismissed, including the resisting of an officer, possession of scheduled drugs, and obstruction of justice by tampering with evidence. How do you plead?
Not guilty with a statement.
And you have failed to pay supervision fees, and you are behind $1,113.
Guilty with a statement.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead now and give me those statements that back up those, please.
Okay. I was falsely accused of all the criminal charges. I didn't know what was going on. They started the task force of the 16th Judicial the sheriff started going to my mom and in the residence they knew I stayed at, and was trying to frame me with a homicide charge from somebody OD'ing in his woman's house. And I'm the one who called the police for the woman, but just through my prior history, they try to charge me with these drugs which I've never seen, I've never been in the presence of ever. They try to charge me with these drugs. And on account of my PO not seeing me, the last person I met with Mr. Supervisor Jason Thornton, he was telling me that I would have a new parole officer, which I never got a chance to meet because of the charges. As far as my residence changing, my residence never changed. My cousin, I think you should have an affidavit from my cousin Samika Kenner, which only because she was threatened by the task force about if they found out that I was being present at their house, they was going to charge her with accessory to something that never even happened, with a homicide that never even took place. So she told my PO, not thinking like they was thinking one was the other that I didn't stay there. But she wrote an affidavit notarized from a notary that she said she sent to y'all. As far as my fees, I put my trust in the wrong person. Like when I working and I had this person, the same person, I had this person with my card, and I was being lied to saying that she was sending the money, which I know is not her obligation. It's not her business, but I thought I could trust this person because I was trying to share something with this person, which is a woman named Aisha Davis. She never sent no money, but she was telling me was sending the money for me, and she never sent no money because when this situation occurred, I can't even get my card back from because that's the residence that happened at of her cousin ODN in one of her rooms, in the room of her house, who stayed downstairs. So I never could even receive my card back from my job and with the money. And then I didn't find out that it wasn't taking place about the money being sent until I came to jail.
Okay. So, Mr. Kenner, according to the Department of Corrections, you're a 4th felony offender. So you've been on supervision before?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. According to our records, between December 2024 and when you were arrested, 8/2025, you did not engage with your parole officer.
Well, my cousin talked to her.
And no, you did not
No, ma'am.
interact. Right.
No, ma'am.
According to our record, you were sentenced and served 6 months in jail for the charges that were not dismissed.
Telephone harassment.
For this, okay, let me see if I can find them. Correct, telephone harassment, and you were sentenced to 6 months in prison. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Only for that member of the board.
I don't have,
All other charges got dismissed,
except for that.
except for that.
I don't have any other questions. Do any of my panel members? I don't. I think we're ready to vote. Mr. Kenner, Mrs. Ledoux.
Mr. Kenner, you clearly understand the conditions of parole, and I find that you're in violation of the conditions of your parole. My vote today is to revoke.
Mr. Tillis.
My vote is also to revoke for violation number 2 and number 10.
Mr. Kenner, I do agree. There's inconsistency in what you're telling us and what we're seeing. So I find that you have violated conditions of parole. So my vote today is going to be to revoke.
Please, members, can you please listen to me, please? Wait. What's she saying?
All right, good morning. We are now at Riverbend Detention Center. Sir, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
Well, I don't have a DOC number, but my name is Charles Lenu.
Right, yeah, you have a DOC number, so let me see,
7/4. 11.
let me find your, what year were you born?
1995.
Okay. I'm showing your DOC number is 741164.
Okay.
Have you ever seen?
I wasn't aware of that.
All right, well, we're here for a revocation decision this morning, Mr. LANAUTE. We're gonna put a form up on the screen for you to look at. Can you see that form on the screen?
Okay.
That's your signature at the bottom dated February 20th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good, thank you. Based on that information, you're not eligible for us to appoint you a lawyer today. So are you ready to proceed without a lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, your case has been assigned to Mrs. Ledoux. I'm gonna turn it over to her.
Okay.
Mr. Lenu, you're a first-class offender, so you probably have never been before the parole board before. So let me explain what's going to happen. I'm going to read the allegations against you. When you were released on good time, you were given parole conditions. I know you know that. And they're enumerated. I'm going to read the parole conditions that you are charged with violating. You're going to give me a plea of guilty, guilty with a statement, or not guilty. On 9/18/24, you were involved in criminal activity in the commission of the offense of attempted armed robbery, use of a firearm, and illegal use of weapons, dangerous instrumentalities in East Baton Rouge. You were arrested by the Marshals Fugitive Task Force on 3/10/2025, and you pled guilty 1/20/26 to the amended charge of theft under $1,000, and you are sentenced to serve 6 months in the parish prison. How did you plead to that?
I plead guilty to that.
Number 5 says that you were in possession of a firearm or a dangerous weapon when you were arrested. How do you plead to that?
Not guilty. It wasn't no weapons involved, and then I wouldn't charge with no weapon. Then I wouldn't possess no weapon or whatever.
And you have never made a payment on your supervision fees since 2019 when you were released.
That's not true, ma'am.
Do you have proof otherwise?
Yes, ma'am.
How much have you paid?
I don't know like all together how much I paid, but I know I haven't paid.
Okay. Well, I'm not finding that document easily.
Yeah, I'd have sent money orders, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Lenu, when we receive this packet of information, we receive all of the agent's notes about his supervision of you.
Yes, ma'am.
I actually quit counting the number of warrants that we issued because of you absconding. And I bring that up to note that you had a very difficult time being supervised because you would not report for months at a time, then you'd pop back up. And you've had a previous incarceration during this period of supervision. And so the rules of parole are very clear cut. You have been sentenced to criminal conduct while you're on parole. Okay? And it wasn't your first. So I don't have any other questions. If you want to make a statement, you're welcome to make a statement at this time.
With the scoundrel, like I only been charged with a scoundrel one time.
Did you
And
hear me?
I did a 30-day
Multiple
tech. I
warrants.
did a 30-day tech on that.
There've been multiple warrants for your absconding that were rescinded. Do my colleagues have any other questions or?
Are you staying in contact with your parole officer?
I stay in contact with my office.
You do?
I only been issued a warrant for scoundrel one time, and that was in 2021. And I did a 30-day tech on that. And I have been receiving payments. I just sent multiple money orders, plus my mom.
Okay, so, but
And I'd also contacted my parole officer by FaceTime. I'd also called. I'd also showed up at the office like multiple times. Like, so I'm not aware of that.
what's his name?
Well, I got a new parole officer right now. His name is Sean Guy.
John Guy?
Okay, you're not being charged with absconding. I'm just pointing out that you've been difficult to supervise. And you have had criminal activity.
What is the criminal activity?
You were sentenced to jail for theft. You were arrested and then you pled guilty to the amended charge of theft and were sentenced to 6 months in the parish prison.
You remember being arrested?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
What did they arrest you for?
They arrested me for robbery and something I didn't do. Then they dropped it down to a misdemeanor theft under $1,000.
What was it that you do? Or you did?
They say I didn't return a scooter.
A scooter?
Yes, sir.
You have any?
And the guy got the scooter back. Like it was a friend of mine. It was a friend of mine, and they saying like I showed up late returning the scooter, and like they dropped it down to a misdemeanor theft under $1,000. And then the guy he returned the scooter was returned to him.
Okay, I understand. I have no more questions.
So you borrowed the scooter? Well, why would he say you took it? So,
I don't know, man, but like I said, in the court, I got it dropped down to misdemeanor theft under $1,000, and the scooter was returned to him the same night. So I was really falsely accused. Like they didn't catch me with no weapons, there wasn't no armed robbery or none of that, man.
all right. Ms. Lee, you ready to vote, or you have more questions?
Mr. Lenu, I reviewed your entire file, and my vote today is to revoke you based on noncompliance. You have had criminal activity during this period of supervision.
For a misdemeanor, man?
Criminal activity doesn't matter if it's felony or misdemeanor, sir.
Mr. Tillis.
My vote also is to revoke for violation number 4.
And I do agree, Mr. Lenu. My vote also is to revoke. You violated condition number 4 by being involved in criminal activity to which you pled guilty. So today, sir, your parole is being revoked. All right, good morning, Mr. McCoy.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Would you introduce yourself, sir? Tell us your name and DOC number.
Deshawn McCoy, 603-496.
Okay, and we are at IBERIA Parish Jail, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're here for a revocation decision this morning. We're going to put a form up on the screen for you to look at to tell us if or confirm that you signed that form. See that? Is that your signature dated February 23rd of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so based on that information, Mr. McCoy, you're not eligible for us to appoint you a lawyer. So are you ready to proceed today without a lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Your case has been assigned, Mr. McCoy, to Mr. Tillis. I'm going to turn it over to him.
Good morning, Mr. McCoy. How are you?
All right, sir.
I'm going to read some violations and you can plead guilty, not guilty, or with a statement. Violation number 4, you failed to refrain from criminal activities on or about 8/2/2025 when committing the following offense: possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, 2 counts, illegal possession of stolen firearm, obstruction of justice, and resisting an officer. How do you plead guilty, not guilty, or with a statement?
Not guilty. Cause I never got charged with it yet. I ain't been convicted of it yet.
You want to tell us what happened? You had a firearm?
No, sir.
You didn't?
No, sir. I'm taking this out. The police report not right or none of that, sir. Saying that they found a gun, they never found a gun in my possession. I was in a car with somebody, and I wasn't a driver.
Was there a gun in the car?
That what they claimed. They never found no gun in the car. The gun was found outside the car.
Okay. All right, for violation number 5, on or about 8/2/25, you failed to refrain from owning or possession of any firearm or dangerous weapon with evidence of you by your arrest on 8/2/2025 by the IBERIA Parish Sheriff's Office. Subsequently, you were charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and illegal possession of a stolen firearm. These charges are currently pending in the 16th District Court. Trial set for 5/11/2026. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
You want to make a statement?
Man, pretty much just saying the first one, sir.
Okay, thank you. Violation number 10, you failed to make regular payments towards your supervisional fees, resulting in an arraignment in the amount of $315. How do you plead?
Well, I'm guilty.
Okay, you go to trial on 5/11.
Yes, sir.
You want to continue it?
I have a couple of questions
Okay.
first.
Go ahead.
Mr. McCoy, when you
Yes,
were
ma'am.
arrested, let's see, you were arrested in August of last year, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you specifically? When they arrested you? Were you under the house?
What you mean, like?
They found
you
you.
talking-
Where were you?
You talking about like where they found me at?
Yeah,
They found me on that was Lombard Street.
under the house.
Yes, ma'am.
Why were you under the house?
Oh, because I ran.
Why? If you didn't have any guns, why did you run?
Well, the severity of what happened when the person I was with, he took him on a high-speed chase. And you know, my first chance I got out of the car. And the first thing I saw was the house and I ran under it.
And you had a duffel bag with you?
No, ma'am. I didn't have anything with me. I jump out a moving car.
All right. Well, thank you for that. I don't have any other questions. Angela, do you have any questions?
No questions. I would note that the record that we've been given is far different than your testimony.
I guess we can go ahead and vote. Would you like a continuance until you get out of trial?
Yes, sir.
And you believe you're going to be proven innocent?
Yes, sir.
I have no problem with that.
All right, so you are requesting a continuance this morning till after you're
Yes, ma'am.
made up court date. The objection. All right, we're going to continue your case until after you go to court. Good luck.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Dagel. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we are now at the Jefferson Davis Parish Jail. And this is, would you introduce yourself, Mr. Dagel? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
Devin Ray Dagel, DOC number 742473.
Yes, sir, that's what I have. We are here today for a revocation hearing.
Yes, ma'am.
Put a paper up on the screen for you to look at. See that? Is that your signature, Mr. Dagel, at the bottom, dated February 25th?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, thank you. It's based on that information, sir, it was determined you're not eligible for an appointed lawyer. So are you ready to proceed without a lawyer today?
My paid lawyer was supposed to be present today, but I don't know what's going on because the ID number they had in the front ain't the same ID number that my probation officer told me to give my lawyer.
What ID number?
I think it was
Oh,
98.
for Zoom, oh, I see.
Yes, ma'am.
So, do you want to, have y'all heard from the lawyer? So we haven't heard from him. What is the lawyer's name?
Miss Aurelia Lawdens.
What's the first name?
Aurelia.
Aurelia. Miss Aurelia. What's the last name?
Lawdens.
Lawrence?
Lawdens. Lawdins.
Lawrence, okay. So, you want your lawyer to be present then, so we'll need to, we hadn't heard from her, so we'll need to continue today if you have no objection until we can be sure that she can be present. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, ma'am. I don't want to continue. I'm trying to just object it until she comes I don't know how it was supposed to work, but I gave her an ID number and it's not the same one, so I guess she couldn't log in.
Right, but if you want your lawyer here, do you have a phone number for her
Yes, ma'am.
with you there?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it?
225-803-0111.
Okay, stand by. We're gonna see if we can give her office a call.
Okay, that's her cell phone number.
All right, Mr. Dagel, we're able to contact your attorney. She's asked for 15 minutes to get ready to be here. And so we're gonna set you aside for a few minutes and we're gonna come back to you when she can be present, okay?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Is the officer in there with you?
No, ma'am.
Well, are they closed? I want to tell them what's going on.
Gotta, the way they got this thing set up, I can't even hit a button and call them. I have to stand in front of the door and then the officer's supposed to come.
That's all you need.
Okay. We're gonna give them a call. Just stand by. All right, good morning, Mr. Miller, good morning. Oh, I think you got it.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
How you
So
doing?
we're now at St. Bernard Parish Prison, and Mr. Miller, would you state your full name and your DOC number for us?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Lawrence Miller Jr. My DOC number is 131680.
Sir, thank you, sir. So Mr. Miller, we're going to put a form up on the screen for you to look at and tell us if you signed that form.
Okay.
Hold on. See that? Is that your signature down at the bottom of that page dated February 5th?
Yes, ma'am. But there's one correction I need to make. Where it says about the mental health treatment.
Yes.
Have you been treated for mental illness in the past 5 years, or currently taking medication for mental? That needs to be changed to yes.
Yes.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
okay, and so you want to expand on that at all?
I was taking I think it was Lexapro, but I'm currently taking Zoloft and another pill since I've been incarcerated.
Prior to your arrest, were you on mental health meds?
Yes, ma'am. I believe the name was Lexapro I was taking prior to coming to jail, but now they have me taking Zoloft and another pill. I can't remember the correct name of it.
That's okay. Do you understand the allegations against you? This is a revocation proceeding, and so do you understand the allegations against you?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you read and write?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, so we will note that change on that form as you requested, but are you ready to proceed this morning without a lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll just proceed. Your case has been assigned this morning to Mr. Tillis. I'm going to turn it over to him. He'll be asking some questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Trying to find the violations.
It's under D.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Miller. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Tillis. How are you this morning?
Just having a little computer problems with computers getting me straight. I'm gonna read some two violations, and you can plead guilty, not guilty, or with a statement. You were arrested by the St. Bernard Sheriff's Office on 1/30/2026 and charged with criminal act, domestic abuse, battery, and resisting an officer. The charges of a domestic abuse battery was declined by the district attorney's office. Your trial date is set for 4/2/2026, continued on May 7th, 2026. How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or with a statement?
All charges were dismissed, sir. When I went to court on April the 2nd, the resisting officer charge was also dismissed. I currently have no pending charges against me.
Okay, you went to trial on April 2nd,
Yes, sir.
and they were all dismissed?
Yes, sir.
Do
Okay,
you have any documentation that says that?
I don't have any documentation in my possession at this very moment, but I was told that the charges were dismissed.
Is the officer still in the room with you?
Yes, ma'am. He said he can get someone to grab my folders.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, violation number 10. You failed to make monthly fee payments and have an arrearment of $1,062. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Okay. We have your wife, Ms. Howard. We'd like to hear what she wants to say on your behalf.
Okay.
Yes, good morning. Can you all hear me?
Ma'am.
Yes, so on Lawrence's behalf, the domestic charges, there was a physical contact of, him grabbing, but he was trying to hug me. So of course, that's the reason why that was dismissed. However, Lawrence has never been physically violent towards me. So I just want to notate that. But Lawrence does need some mental health treatment. And this is why he was seeing a psychiatrist, Demetrius Williams, prior to this happening. He was taking Lexapro daily. It would help. But, on Lawrence's behalf, Lawrence does not know how to control his emotions, would put him in positions like this. But it's not anything, physical where I'm afraid of Lawrence or I'm in fear of my life. It's nothing like that. But he just needs some mental health treatment.
Ms. Howard, have you called the police on him before?
Yes. And like I said, it's more so altercations that occur, but it's never been, where he's struck me or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I have some. Mr. Miller,
Yes, ma'am.
there you are. Oh, wait, there's the officer. Let's see if he can.
Hello. All right, so his resisting an officer charge was dismissed, and the domestic abuse battery was declined by the DA.
All right, thank you so much for checking on that for us.
Copies of it I can email to y'all, just let me know.
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah.
Mr. Miller,
Yes, ma'am.
when you're on the street, do you have any substance abuse issues?
No, ma'am. I drink occasionally, but I learned recently since I've been incarcerated that I'm not supposed to drink at all. And I would.
You've been incarcerated this time, you mean? Since
Yes, ma'am.
you've been in jail since February?
Yes, ma'am. I was told by my parole officer that I'm not supposed to drink at all. So I apologize for that. I don't have a substance abuse problem. It's not a problem where I have to have a drink or anything like that.
Did that contribute to the outburst?
I wouldn't say it contributed to the outburst because, even after the incident at McDonald's where my wife originally called the police, we went to the house. I followed her home like the report stated. We was there talking. I've never been aggressive. I'm not an aggressive person. Like my wife said, I've never hit her, never will hit a woman. I'm totally against men that hit women. I don't know, and I apologize to my wife for making her feel like I was being aggressive at that time. But no, ma'am, I have no
Okay.
idea that,
Some clarification, because when I read these reports, I see language like ex-wife, ex-girlfriend. What is your relationship with Ms. Howard?
That is my wife. We're currently married.
Okay, has it been a formal separation? I understand that she didn't want you at the house, and what's going on?
On January the 24th or 25th, I had left home. I had been gone approximately a week, but I've been going back and forth to the house trying to reconcile with my wife so I can move back in. We hadn't come to agreement on me moving back in at the time.
Who called the police? Your
My
wife
wife
called?
My wife called the police.
So she asked you to follow her back home?
Okay. On January the 30th, my wife, earlier that day prior to this happening, my wife had came to pick up a phone that I had that was in her name. After receiving the phone, she noticed I had some text messages from an ex-girlfriend of mine. She texted me back telling me about the texts or whatever. Like maybe 2 hours later, I left Jefferson Parish and came to Chalmette, went to the house where we were living together. She wasn't home. On my way leaving out of Chalmette, I stopped at the McDonald's to get me something to eat. My wife pulled up on side of me without my knowledge and heard me on the phone with my ex-girlfriend. She got back in her vehicle. I opened the passenger door and asked her where she was going. She told me she was going home. I said, okay, well, I'm coming home too. She said, okay. She left out the McDonald's parking lot, and I followed her back to the house. After I was there maybe 10, 15 minutes, there was a knock at the door. And I responded by saying, who the F is this at the door? And it was the police. I had no knowledge that the police had been called or anything.
I have a motion for executive session.
I'll second.
Any objection? Okay. Mr. Miller, just stand by for a moment. We're going to be in executive session to discuss some confidential matters.
Okay.
All right, I'll make the motion to go back in regular session. It's without objection. We're back in regular session. It's 10:21. Mr. Miller, I think we're prepared to vote, and I'm going to go ahead and vote first. I am really concerned about you. I think that you do have a substance abuse issue, even though in your mind you think you don't, but you were heavily intoxicated at the time this incident at McDonald's occurred. You're currently undergoing mental health treatment, and so I understand and appreciate what your wife said. The officer there has confirmed that those charges have been resolved, as you said. But I think for me, I want to ensure that you get the treatment that you need. So my vote today is I'm not going to revoke you, but I'm going to, in lieu of revocation, I'm going to ask that you get a DOC substance abuse evaluation to include a mental health component, and that you also complete a domestic violence training program in DOC. And once all that's completed and they have a good, solid treatment plan for your mental health that can be handled in the community, then you'll be released. But you gotta get all that done first.
My vote is to concur with that recommendation by the chairwoman.
And I concur also.
Do you understand that, Mr. Miller? And if you refuse, if you don't want to do that, I'm prepared to revoke you today. So
I don't want to be revoked.
all right, so we've made a recommendation to get you some treatment, and then once you get the treatment, you'll be released. You won't be revoked. But if you don't comply with the treatment or the plan, that's what will happen. So that concludes It's with you, Mr.
Can,
All right, Mr. Dagel, we're back.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you tell the officer what was going on? Did they come check on you?
Yeah, he just come check.
Okay, good. And I believe, there we go, we have your attorney present with us. So, the way this is gonna work, Mr. Daigle, is I'm gonna read the allegations again. Well, first, let me ask your lawyer to enter her name into the record, please.
Good morning, Aurelia Lawrence Trent on behalf of Mr. Devon Dagel.
Thank you. So the way this will work is I'm gonna read the allegation against you, Mr. Daigle. I'm gonna ask you to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. And then we'll hear from your lawyer, what she has to say about it, and then we'll have a discussion. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so you're accused of violating condition number 4 of your supervision conditions. And it states, you engaged in criminal activity of manufacture, distribution of seizure-controlled dangerous substance 2, which resulted in your arrest August 18 of 25. This says you were scheduled for pretrial conference April 1st in the 31st Judicial District Court in Jeff Davis Parish for possession with an intent to distribute Schedule 2 heroin. Well, and then it says the charges have been reset until September 30th of 2026. Is that, so how do you plead to violating condition number 4?
Not guilty.
Okay, well, let us hear from your lawyer, Ms. Lawrence Trent.
Good morning. So with this particular charge, I am hopeful that we'll be able to actually get this resolved. After reviewing the videos and looking at what they've put forward, it is not a very strong case. We are reset for September. I'm scheduled for trial in May. This is a matter where if I'm looking at the videos, it's not very clear cut. Actually, you don't see him doing anything outside of the alleged violation of speeding. So there will be some motions that will be set in this matter upcoming. So at this time, I would either ask that the matter of revocation be deferred until this is resolved.
Okay, do you expect that to happen on September 30th or possibly before?
I don't think it would happen before September 30th, given the May trial date that I have on another case. I'm also set for another trial in June. We may set the pending motion to suppress may be set in September, or they may set it before.
Okay, so it is your request that this matter be deferred until those charges have been resolved?
Yes. I don't know if there is an option for maybe another hearing for a possible lifting of the hold or a parole bond. Since he went in front of, or since he's going in front of you guys, apparently, I think it's procedurally interesting for the 31st JDC because we can request a bond be set, but without some type of guidance or agreement from the parole board, they won't set anything because they won't lift what you have in place.
Okay. Mr. Dagel, is that your wish as well?
Yes, ma'am.
To defer until that other case is resolved?
Yes, ma'am.
So we have a motion by Ms. Ledoux for executive session. Second by Mr. Tillis without objection. We're going to convene executive session for just a couple of minutes to discuss some confidential matters. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, I'll move to be back in regular session. It's 10:35. We've given, Mr. Dagel consideration to the request by your attorney for, to lift the parole hold instead of bond. However, we're not willing to do that at this time, but we will continue your case or defer until such time as those September 30th court date, to the charges are resolved. And we hope that that happens in September or shortly thereafter. Ms. Loggins, Trent?
Yes,
We're going to
I
go
do.
ahead and continue. We're going to go ahead and record you as his attorney of record. And once that matter is resolved, would you let us know? Or let his parole officer know, and he'll get in touch with us.
Okay, I do have a question. If we are moving for a bond, is it the position of the board that they would object to having a hold lifted?
Yes.
Okay. Would there be anything to submit for additional consideration with that?
You can submit just in general to the parole board with, a brief with whatever your argument would be.
Okay. There would be probably digital evidence that I would submit to you guys so you could review that for yourself. And in light of the actual allegations, you'd be able to look at it and see what we're looking at.
Very good. Well, thank you, ma'am. We'll look forward to getting that. All right,
Okay,
that
would I
concludes our
submit that
business.
to?
You
Oh, I
can,
apologize.
we have a parole board address. It's just paroleboard@la.gov. All right, and that concludes our business with Mr. Dagel.
Thank you all. My apologies for the early mix-up.
Thank you.
Consideration to the request by your attorney or to lift the parole hold, set a bond. However, we're not willing to do that at this time, but we will continue the case or defer until such time as this. And you were going to go ahead and report you as his attorney.
I'm live right now.
Well, good morning, Mr. Trump.
Morning.
You having your lunch?
Hey, Mel.
Early. Yeah, I mean, look, early, I guess. Yeah, I'm used to that. Well, sir, we are now in Rapides Parish. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
Anthony Drummer, 400-269.
I see you got some folks there in the room. Yeah, I'd like to get them to introduce themselves if they care to participate today.
Oh, I'm Sergeant Steinman, ma'am. I'm the staff member for today's meeting.
Okay.
I'm Corporal Belgard. I'm just sitting in, viewing.
All right, good. Well, thank you. Welcome. So, Mr. Drummer, we're going to put a piece of paper up on the screen for you to review and tell us if you signed that paper. That is a parole revocation questionnaire. Is that your signature down at the bottom, dated February 12th?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir. That will tell us your name again and DOC number.
after the drummer, 400-269.
Yeah, I got it. So based on the information in that parole revocation questionnaire, you're not eligible for a lawyer, an appointed lawyer today. Are you ready to proceed without one?
Yes.
Okay, so your case is assigned to me. I'm going to read the allegations against you, and you'll enter a plea guilty or not guilty. And then we'll have a discussion about those. Now, so you're accused of violating conditions 2, 3, 4, 10, and 13 of your supervision contract. At your preliminary hearing, I noticed that you pled guilty to all those violations.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm just going to read them real quickly. I need you to enter your plea again. Condition number 2, it says you failed to report the second Monday of the month of August 2025 as instructed by your parole officer. How do you plead to that violation?
Guilty.
Condition number 3, you moved from your listed address on Sugar House Road in Alexandria and failed to provide an approved residence plan to your parole officer. So your whereabouts were unknown. So how do you plead to violating condition number 3?
Guilty.
Then we have condition number 4. You failed to refrain from criminal conduct evidenced by the warrant issued for your arrest July 30th, 2025 by Rapides Sheriff's Office for sex offender failure to renew your registration and sex offender failure to notify law enforcement change of address. So you then were arrested August 12th, 2025.
Guilty.
And is that still pending in court?
Yes, I went to court on the 26th. The DA not gonna prosecute the charges. He's waiting on the outcome on my parole hearing.
All right, let's move on. Condition number 10, you failed to make proper payment towards your fees. You have never made a payment and you owe $378. How do you plead to violating that with regard to fees?
Guilty.
Then there were 2 violations of condition number 13. The first is about your sex offender contract. Should you have any change in your residence, or you will be required to gain complete registration process within 3 business days. You failed to report in person to the sheriff within that 3-day period. How do you plead to that violation?
Guilty.
And then last is also part of the sex offender contract, and it has to do with your sex offender treatment. You failed to attend sex offender treatment with Professional Academy in August 11th, specifically, as instructed by your parole officer. So how do you plead to that violation?
Guilty.
So you've pled guilty to all your violations. So why are we even here today?
I pled guilty with statements that I have off the preliminary hearing.
Well, tell us your statement today.
Well, my parole officer, she knew about my whereabouts. She knew I had just got evicted while I was living there. But that when I was staying, I couldn't use their address because they was Section 8. And for me missing up on the academy on Monday, I was trying to locate my cousin to get the new address. That's why I came back to the parole office at 2 in the morning. They ain't have to come looking for me. I wasn't looking for them. I wasn't trying to avoid the authorities or nothing.
And that's when you got arrested?
I got arrested at my parole office, 2 in the morning.
When did you get evicted?
July when the eviction court, July the 11th or the 13th.
And you say that again, July?
July the 13th or the 11th, I got evicted. I went to the eviction court.
And you were arrested in August. So you didn't do it within 3 days.
Ma'am?
You didn't do, like we said, you didn't do what you were supposed to do within that 3-day period.
I had notified my parole officer the same day I got evicted. And in the paper I got, she said that I notified her.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes.
But you have to register with the sheriff's office too.
I know I had a lot going on at that time. I just got overwhelmed. I wasn't trying to avoid the authority, dude.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask the sergeant there. Sergeant, is there anything you want to tell us about Mr. Drummer?
No, ma'am, nothing that I have, Dad.
Okay, so you were detained August 12th, right? You were released in January, you were detained or arrested in August. You pled guilty to all the violations. I have no choice this morning, Mr. Drummer, but to revoke your parole. Look, Mr. Tillis?
My vote is to revoke also for all the guilty pleas.
My vote is to revoke. You have to follow the rules.
You have, Mr. Drummer, you have a full-term date in about a year and a half from now.
A year and a half?
I saw December of 2027.
Come on.
No, January of 27.
Oh, maybe I made a mistake and put 12 instead of 1.
That's what our file says 12.
Yeah, our file does say December. That may be something you want to check on, but anyway, you'll be getting out soon. Good luck to you, sir.
Well, yeah.